the presentation. First of all, content in microproject, introduction, aim of project, literature review, brief description of project, actual procedure followed, skill development and references. Introduction. Introduction of gating systems. Gating system, the assembly of channels which faculties the molten metal to enter into the mold cavity is called the gating systems. The design of a gating system depends on both the metal and mold compositions. For example, an elaborated gating design is needed to avoid dross. Example, oxides. In easily oxidized metal of low melting point such as aluminium, there are three types of gating system. First one is top gating system, second one is bottom gating system, and last one is parsing line gating system. Aim of project: study the concepts of gating system, study the types of gating system, get all information about gating systems. Literature review: book of MPR of 4th sem, SL Ghawle, www.slideshare.com and mytutorialworld.com. Brief description of project. Gating system, the assembly of channels which faculties the molten metal to enter into the mold cavity is called the gating system. The design of a gating system depends on both the metal and mold composition. For example, an elaborated gating design is needed to avoid dross. Example, oxides. In easily oxidized metal of low melting point such as aluminium, there are three types of gating system. First one, top gating system, second one is bottom gating system, and third one is parsing line gating system. Actual procedure followed. First of all, we select our group project topic, then we start searching about our project information, then we read our iScheme project of iScheme book of manufacturing process for collecting information about the types of gating system. Then we go the library and read the manufacturing process book of GScheme. We start searching on the internet about types of gating systems. We write all collected data in rough. We write to collect material and preparation. When we have completed all the work, we make our flex and then go to prepare a project report to a cyber and we get printout of our project report. Top gating system. In top gating system, the metal is poured from the top of the mold cavity. Since the first metal reaches the bottom and hotter metal is at the top, a favorable temperature gradient towards the gate is achieved. The mold is filled quickly, but as metal falls directly into the mold cavity through height, it is likely to cause mold erosion. The gate may serve as riser, hence no separate riser is used in system. It is suggested for simple casting shape of various alloys. Advantages and limitations of top gating system. Advantages of top gating system: first one is quick filling of mold, second one is no separate riser is required, last one is favorable temperature gradient is achieved. Limitations of top gating system: due to free fall of molten metal likely to cause erosion of mold. Second one is metal may interrupt air and gas. Bottom gating system. In bottom gating system, molten metal is introduced from bottom of mold cavity. As molten metal enters from, there is no erosion of mold. Bottom gate is generally used for very deep molds. It takes more time for filling the mold. Bottom gating system cause unfavorable temperature gradient as compared with top gating system. To compensate this, large size riser is used. Advantages and disadvantages of bottom gating system. Advantages of bottom gating system: turbulence of molten metal is minimum as it enters from bottom of mold cavity. Erosion of mold is prevented. Last one, molten metal rises in mold and around the core gently. Disadvantages of bottom gating system: first one is molten metal continues to lose heat as it rises in mold cavity. Last one is unfavorable temperature gradient. Parsing line gating system. In parsing line gating system, molten metal enters the mold cavity from the side of the mold at the level of parsing plane. Parsing line gating system has combined characteristics of top and bottom gating system. In gating channels are at the parsing line, it is easy to produce it and modify if necessary. The most visually used in horizontal gating with ingots at the parsing line. In vertical gating system, ingots may be positioned at the top or bottom side. Parsing line gates are very simple to construct and very fast to make. They produce very satisfactory result when the drag is not very deep and prove to be very advantageous when they can fit directly into the riser. In this system, the hottest metal reaches the riser, thereby promoting directional solidification. Functions of gating system. First one, to provide continuous feed of molten metal to mold cavity with as little turbulences as possible to fill the mold cavity completely in shortest possible time. Third one is to provide with a minimum with excess metal in the gate and riser. Fourth one, metal flow should be maintained in such a way that no gating of mold erosion takes place. This is the diagram of elements of gating system. Elements of gating system. Porcine basin. The molten metal is not directly poured into the mold cavity because it may cause erosion. The molten metal is poured into a porcine basin. A porcine basin is enlarged portion at the top and sprue. Porcine basin acts as a reservoir for molten metal from which it is moves smoothly into the sprue. Second one, sprue. Sprue is the channel through which the molten metal is brought into the parsing plane where it enters the runners and gets to ultimately reach the mold cavity. The cross section of the sprue may be square, rectangular or circular. The sprues are generally tapered downward to avoid aspiration of air and the metal damage. Runner. It large casting molten metal usually carried from the sprue base to the serval gates around cavity through a passage way called the runner. The runner may be located either in the cope or drag part of mold. It is advantageous to keep the runner in the cope part and it is also works as the riser. Riser. Riser are added reservoir designed to feed liquid metal to the solidifying casting for composition for solidification shrinkage. Shrinkage occur in three stages. First one is when temperature of liquid metal drops from porcine to freezing temperature. Second one is when metal changes from liquid to solid state. Third one is when temperature of solid state phase drops from freezing to room temperature. Last one is gate. These are the opening through which the molten metal enters the mold cavity. The shape and cross section of the gate should be such that it can readily be broken off after casting. Solidification and also such that it should allow molten metal to enter into mold cavity smoothly. Skill development. Teamwork. Working with the team of group members means teamwork skill developed between us during process. Leadership development. Working with group members, leadership skill developed. Presentation skill developed. We give the presentation of our project. The presentation skill is developed. Group discussion. Group discussion skill also developed in making the project with group members. References. To make this micro project, we get references from Empire book of Forsem, from slideshare.com and mytutorialworld.com. Thank you.